And welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel, where we are now only $121 short of fully funding the Kollontai translation. Not just Chapter 2, that's already taken care of. At this point, it's the whole thing. Thanks to some very generous contributions. All we need is $121 to actually have this thing fully funded. I'm getting used to a new camera here, and I haven't quite got the hang of it, but yeah, just remind me later of that. I do think that I know what we're going to be looking at today. I'm gonna just a bit of a glass of water. I've been doing quite a lot, much of it outdoors today. And I probably am mildly dehydrated. Okay, and I think I know what we're going to be looking at. I mean, there are a couple of things that I've considered here, but one that I kind of fairly certain we will have that day in America, folks, we will have that day in America, folks, with Caleb Muppet, or we've got the interesting experience of Annika transphobian having an entirely valid take, as she decides to call Vash Trosh, or the other way around somehow. So that is the other one I'm considering at the moment. So, hi, Khanat. Vosh doubles down in his non-compete, and transphobian is mad at being called out. It's something that Trosh cannot possibly. Yes, but it helps me actually see what's going on, so I like to have it there. I have mouse problems. So having a trail actually helps me know what's going on. I think we're gonna start out with maybe Anna Transphobian is mad at being called out. Because from the always level-headed Vush. It's where I look at various liberal reactionary and reactionary liberal jabronis, and roast them in entertaining and occasionally even educational ways. Die is JabroniCon.
Yes, Bosch. I think you're garbage. I think you're trash.
I can't believe
critical support for that. That's a good take. That is an entirely valid take.
she would use the G slur against me.
Which, okay, I'm not even sure what slur that is.
Anna being horrific? Okay, fine, let's see.
Brother gave a lot of money for me to read this comment, so we'll do it.
Oh my god!
Jenks, so Vosh responded to the clip review yesterday.
Okay, alright, I do not support, like, the financing of drama, okay?
That is such a fine point that he's trying to make there. I mean, first of all, let's just call it what it is. This is infighting between two liberal reactionary assholes. But, I mean, he will occasionally send racist hate mobs to attack leftist creators of color. But he will not finance drama. That's where he draws the line. This is a very fine moral point he's making. Yeah, well, plus he's full of shit. He doesn't actually know anything. His entire thing, I can show you Vosh's entire fucking, his skill set. What Vosh is, all Vosh does is he talks in a bit of a monotone like this, and he talks really, really fast, and he manages to say lots and lots of words without any regard to whether they are at all accurate before somebody else can get a word in edgewise. And that is his entire thing. He is absolute rubbish. So is Anna Transphobian, though. She's horrible on a whole different level.
I do not support the financing of drama. Just to make it perfectly clear, it's the artificial imposition of capital onto drama. You pay people enough money to shit talk each other, and they will.
By saying that he's not a grifter and that he thinks there's a gas leak at TYT. Okay, that seems clever. He said he thinks very highly of you and Anna. Well, he has a curious way of showing it.
No, well, I mean, see, on the other hand, I would entirely believe that he does, because they suck too.
People that he thinks highly of bitches and the R word. Is that what?
Oh, come on. What?
Wait a second. I mean, she recited the whole white nationalist catechism a couple weeks back, but she's gonna act precious about the word bitch. I mean, yeah, I'm not entirely surprised that he would be misogynist. He is a misogynist. In addition to everything else, he kind of sucks on all sorts of levels. But that is such a weird, the line drawing when you get into this level of jabronidom is really remarkable.
She was literally on Twitter palling around with blue checks, like shit talking.
Yeah, she was, and she was I forgot to start recording, unfortunately.
Lance, I can't. Come on, I can't take this seriously.
What can you take seriously? I mean,
wait, it's like a 5-year-old. It's like he says the B word. Come on.
What he does? That's what he does?
Yeah, he's kind of...
Also, wait, I have called people that I like bitches and retard before. That is true, actually. I'm not saying that that's the case here, but you know, it's I have done.
Okay.
Shown that high regard, but feels justified in informing his audience that he disagrees and was shocked by the response he got for Anna.
Listen, I think...
Well, I mean, I don't know why anyone's shocked about anything that comes out of either of their mouths. So she says he sucks, I mean, and he does. A fair point. I really cannot deny that he does. And she's transphobic. He's actually pretty transphobic, too. He just has a special way of doing it. Most of the time, he avoids just being outright transphobic, but he will occasionally just manage to be, I mean, what you could call worst ally ever. Yes. Yes, good point. There. That's better.
I think Vosh is trash, okay? And if you actually genuinely do watch Vosh on a regular basis, you also know he's trash.
Again, I really cannot find anything that I can really object to there.
Which makes me...
We made some updates to our core values. Read them here. It's always great when people update their core values.
Why do you keep writing into us, urging us to have that trash on our show?
Well, I mean, you're not exactly averse to having trash on your show. I mean, Anna Transphobian's on that's you.
And yes, Vosh, I think you're garbage. I think you're trash. Found a lot of...
I can't believe she would use the G slur against me.
Oh, that's the G slur. See, it's really funny. Yeah, it's really funny when a guy who's done a lot of racist shit decides to make fun of the very concept of slurs by suggesting that that garbage is a slur for shitty white liberal streamers. Watch it on whatever you'd like. I'm not an affiliate on Twitch, so it's not like you can get a sub anyway. But, I mean, watch it on whichever.
She does seem a little mad, yeah.
Interesting things about what you had to say about the transgender community. Tried to scrub...
Yeah, oh wait, she's gonna bring up his transphobic receipts.
the internet of those videos.
What?
Yeah, I have those. I have some mirrors of those videos in my reaction fodder playlist.
Really?
Whoa! Whoa! Oh my god!
But I mean, she doesn't get to call anybody out for transphobia. She's just spent like months now pretending to be the victim because people who have certain levels of conflict of interest in the conversation by having relationships with T-Whitey, as I like to call it, they very politely pointed out that what she'd been saying was transphobic and that she was using right-wing anti-trans talking points, and she decided to throw all her toys out of the fucking pram. And now she doesn't get to call anyone transphobic.
What? Wait, first of all, scrub the internet of those videos. I have videos on those videos. The one, like the Thought Slime Meltdown stream, I've done videos about that where I showed all of it. None of it. What? She has the tapes. She found them on this backup site where all of my deleted videos are, called youtube.com/c/Bosch. I found this secret archive of all your bad takes.
Well, admittedly, the secret archive of all his bad takes is indeed just his YouTube page.
I went to least recent video, and I pulled up.
You just go to most recent videos.
I never hide or bury drama. Also, isn't it crazy how every time the same thing happens? Because, like...
Which same thing? Let me see if I can adjust this lighting a bit. Oh, that's not great. Ah, fuck it. Just another thing I need to experiment with.
We DM'd a decent amount back when we were on good terms because we agreed with each other, and I respect...
Which is another point against both of them.
Her. And she was like, I don't know why people are so mean to you. I don't understand. I've seen your videos and they're great. What?
That is not an endorsement. He does not understand. That is not an endorsement.
Like, so what do you think is more likely? Do you think that only in the past few months has she suddenly discovered the content of the Thought Slime stream, which is like 5 years old and constantly posted in left circles?
Well, yeah, because it just shows how much you suck. But I mean, it is a fair point. There are much more recent videos of Vosh sucking. That's not hard. I mean, just recently he's been doubling down on some of his white nationalist talking points.
To smear me? Or do you think now that I'm
Is it really a smear when you acknowledge the video's authentic?
Her team, she suddenly thinks it's bad. That's how you can tell a person is completely unprincipled. It's when...
Well, again, I mean, is this just going to be both of them, like, taking turns telling on themselves?
That something only becomes an issue if you're suddenly against them. You know that kind of person, right? There are, like, interpersonally, there are people like that, where if they're friends with you and you've got something, they're like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. You know?
Well, I mean, and it's also true that if people tend to give more leeway to people they actually like.
You know, like, oh, that, but then, like, later, if you're no longer friends, they're like, oh, actually, like, when that happened, that was, like, really... It's like, well, what? Was the problem with the action, or do you just... Is it just, like, totally contextual, you know? No principles, none whatsoever.
Okay, there's a story behind that one.
How long until she brings up the Vosh? Oh, she's gonna be like, yeah, I've heard these secret tapes that Vosh has never discussed before, where people allege that he's a pedophile. Yeah,
well, it's not where people allege it; it's where you say it.
The real shebang, dude. People, everyone but me is terrible. How long till she calls your cock mid? Just the full cat black, like 20,000 word Substack Twitter.
Fuck is that?
Tweet thread. It's like a snowball rolling down the hill where everyone who hates me eventually just becomes the same guy, you know, like the same.
Yes, in that they just sort of join the large community of people who are sick of your shit.
Same person. Yeah, fantastic. Release the cock videos, Vosh. But yeah, I'll say it. Vosh has a garbage penis. Vosh, do you disagree with somebody without them losing their shit? Well,
Well, yeah. I mean, he can. It happens all the fucking time. But both of these people are just performatively full of shit. And they're just grifting. So, of course, they have to suddenly act angry about things that they probably aren't actually all that pissed off about.
I think it's kind of an indication of the fact that my brain is huge and I'm very emotionally stable. That for the most part, when I disagree with a person or when my positions on a person change, it's usually pretty, it's pretty principled.
Oh, yeah, you see, he's based on facts and logic, you see.
I feel like what I'm attacking Anna Kasparian specifically over the shit that she's doing, you know what I mean? Whereas with her, it's like, oh, well, actually, he always was trash. Or...
Well, yeah, except the thing is, he will, in fact, change his position on a person based on whether it's convenient to whatever his current argument is. He does that all the fucking time.
Like, actually, I found these leaked tapes, you know. It's just, if you don't like a person, there's a reason for it. If you do, there's a reason for it. I can easily say I think Anna Kasparian's been an asset to the left in many instances.
No, like, to what left? Left of what? I mean, she's great as a foil, because she makes the right-wing arguments, like, on bail reform. She just comes up with, like, right-wing bullshit. And it's easy to refute, and you can make really low-effort content refuting her right-wing bullshit. And I guess, I mean, she's kind of a boon to leftist content creators in that sense. Ah, that's a little bit better with the lighting.
Throughout her career. And then it's this recent turn that's been insane. But, like, you know, but that's because I'm not, like, a weirdo. So anyway, we're only like a minute in, okay? We'll see.
Curious why you thought it was okay to say the kinds of things about them that you did, including the fact that
because I thought it was funny.
You think that they have mental illness, they're struggling with mental
Everyone who disagrees with me is mentally ill.
Illness.
Well, the thing is, he does say that a lot.
This is about, they're the most toxic people on the internet.
Let's move on from this one.
I've got the receipts.
It's just, Anna, it's not a secret. Does anyone remember the title of the video? Everyone, look, does anyone remember the title of the video where I went over the Thoughts Line stream? Does anyone remember? Because it was like...
Well, I mean, the copy of it I have is called, The Transphobic Meltdown Vosh Doesn't Want You to See.
A year and a half ago or something, but I went over all of it. Does anyone remember what it was called? Oh, Posadas John. I wonder if it occurred to me at all back during... Oh, yeah, this is from Fan Channel.
Oh, he's gonna This saves me pulling it up.
From the Vosh channel. I know I have it somewhere on my channel, but this would be it, right? Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is the content. Anyway, it's somewhere on my channel too.
I'm ready to show them, but calling me a bitch turf.
Well, I mean, you are a turf.
Because I just...
Wait,
Just because she said some turf shit.
Wait, hold on. Did I call her a turf?
Yeah. Did you, like, wait, that it would be so on brand for Vosh to get so caught up in his misogyny that he would forget that the legitimate reason for not liking her is she's racist and transphobic.
I don't think, wait, hold on. I stand by the bitch comment. Did I call her a turf? I don't think...
You should have. But it is. It absolutely is. It's just literally just all she did was plagiarize some turf bullshit that she herself had done a video debunking over a year ago. I mean, it is turfy. It's why they're called the Young Turfs.
I remember saying that. If I did, then I think that's imprecise and was probably just... I think you did. Okay, I don't think that's a precise description of her ideology. I think she's being transphobic. I don't think she's a turf.
Well, except she's, like, decided that this is the career... She's doing it as a career move. It isn't that she suddenly just does not understand why these right-wing talking points she keeps on using are bullshit. We know that she understands them because she's explained why they're bullshit. This is very much a professional move that she's making. The whole thing, there's every single bit of it is calculated. So I don't see any reason that we should be at all hesitant to just say that this is what she is.
I do think she's edge.
Don't think that it's, you know, politically advantageous to refer to women as birthing community.
Why do you gotta go calling her transphobic just because she says transphobic shit, Vosh?
Oh my dude, holy shit. The beef gets so boring so fast if it's all gonna be like troll punching, man. Yeah, I'm sorry that one medical document you saw the term birthing person.
Yeah, a term that she had explained the entire rationale behind, and why this was just a bullshit right-wing talking point last year.
Which was referring to all people who can give birth, which isn't just women, because you yourself have acknowledged that trans men can give birth. I'm sorry that you're so self-centered and absorbed that you saw that term and have since then determined to, like, make your...
It's not inexplicable, though. I mean, it isn't somehow. She has decided that this is the way to go, and clearly it is in concert with Jen Uyghur as well, because otherwise she'd be out on her ass between that and the white supremacist shit. I mean, clearly he's decided that's cool. That is the way they want to go. And certainly you can understand it from a commercial standpoint, because that's where the fucking money is.
Offense at that term, part of your identity, to the point where you are lying when you say that it was referring to women, because you know goddamn well the point of that term is to refer to people who can give birth, which includes people who are not women, something you've acknowledged. Like, it's, like, ridiculous.
Okay, I mean, totally valid. That's the thing about this sort of beef. You have people who you can't stand and who are constantly full of shit, both of them occasionally saying entirely valid things.
Do that. But you can say some of the most disgusting things about the transgender community and then pretend like you have the moral high ground?
No, yeah, and it's true, he doesn't. He really doesn't have the moral high ground. I mean, this is a guy who decides to wade into, like, the transphobia of J.K. Rowling, and the only thing he can think to do is make it about himself by saying something that is undisputably just straight up misogynist and is nothing at all to do with criticizing her transphobia, and then double down on it. And then his little mini-me Xander hole popped out of his pocket to double down on it for him again. I mean, so yeah, he has absolutely no moral high ground. Neither of them do.
Correct. Not pretend, I do. Always have. All the time. Obviously, yes.
You're garbage, Bosch. I don't respect you.
Yeah, the chat, that is actually, like, really well produced and has a transparent background and all sorts of things I don't really know how to do when I'm using Restream. That's Vush.
Which is why I don't want to talk to you. It's that simple.
Yeah, but he would talk with... by the way, she was willing to talk with Adam and Sitch.
Yeah, and not only talk with them. I mean, first she decides to say, oh, well, you know, sometimes you've got to occasionally just murder some anti-racist protesters, you know. And, standing fucking Kyle Rittenhouse, standing the woman who tried to swat a black bird watcher in Central Park, and I don't know what else. I didn't actually watch the whole thing. That was already enough. That was wild.
Gone after her for years, and those are like actual vile conservatives. And she was like, "Oh well, I've always been willing to talk to people who, like I'm really cool. I'm politically homeless." And
yeah. She was pulling the Tim Pool bullshit.
Like, I'm just willing to have convos with people like that. You know why? Because Adam and Sitch won't call her on her shit, and I will. It's that simple.
Well, of course, the thing is that it's utterly meaningless when you call her for her shit, because you're doing that shit too. It is completely and utterly mercenary on your part to be calling her on this stuff.
She's smart, sure, but she's not me. She knows perfectly well that in a direct conversation it would be over, which is why she won't have it. It's literally that simple. Like, you know, there's you can equivocate all you want, but like that, and she's correct in this assumption. There are lots of people less intelligent than me who aren't smart enough to know they shouldn't talk to me, but she's smart enough to know that she should.
Yeah. Okay. So look, guys, the thing I can't stand
What do you mean, wait out bad culture?
is when people say crazy, horrible things about us, and they go, "Why are you grabbing me?" What?
But I mean, none of it is, in fact, actually all that out there. It's just fairly. I mean, they've decided they're totally just grifting on this victim bullshit that will certainly win them right-wing fans. I mean, if that is the goal, they're going about it perfectly. Just absolute chef's kiss shit here. But I mean, they say some like textbook, like you would use this stuff if you wanted to give an example of something that is like that is a transphobic dog whistle that the pretending to get mad about birthing people. That would be a good example. That would be the sort of thing that you would find in a textbook to explain the concept. And so, and the thing is, if you look at when she first started on this shit, the way most of the responses she was getting from people were so polite. It's like just trying to explain it to her, giving her the benefit of the doubt, despite the fact that she is not entitled to the benefit of the doubt because she knows exactly what she's doing. I mean, the idea that people are being so wow, yeah, how could, just because you say a bunch of racist shit after grifting off of a like leftish leaning liberal audience for years and transphobic shit, just because of that people suddenly don't like you.
Why are you grabbing me?
Attention, he wants it so bad.
Wait, how am I the one doing it? I just smile and laugh. You could say like, whatever. Wait. Oh wait, I'm not the one pro clutching. What?
Yeah, there is no waiting it out. And I mean, you look at the situation here. I mean, it's a particularly good example of why public opinion in itself is fucking meaningless. I mean, it does not just be, I mean, in the sense of stopping something, just because people think something is bad. Like, polls show overwhelmingly, people think that the way that trans people are being targeted in the US is bad. They think that that's a problem. They find it kind of scary, and that means nothing. The Democrats won't move on it. The fucking Republicans are just continuing to go down this road. They don't even care that actually most of their voters aren't all that keen on it, because they know what are the voters going to do? Vote Democrats? They're going to vote for the people who are just openly fucking, the kind of people who would call PV Bota woke. They're not going to so, I mean, either you actually get together and organize and resist it in a way that actually disrupts it and threatens either governability or profitability or, yeah, that shit is not gonna, it's just not gonna make a difference. You can't, die kan niet wegvoten.
Oh wait, which one? I'm not the one pro clutching here. I'm fully.
Yeah, eventually he was. Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying that at this point they are so reactionary that they would look at a guy like PV Bota or Verwoerd or the Broederbond and call them woke, because they have actually so far gone off of the fucking deep end with this shit. And even those people think that they shouldn't be doing this, but it doesn't fucking matter. You gotta actually act. You can't vote it away, and you can't opine it away.
Familiar with this, with e-banter. Why are you pretending I'm the one? Pigeon, why are you screaming so much? I don't know what's up with her, guys. Pigeon screaming. I don't know. She also screamed at the Humanist Report for very mild. Dude, do you guys remember all of her deleted tweets on birthing persons or whatever? She was screaming at everyone. It's pure.
This is true. She was. Well, they use woke. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But see, maybe this discourse has not made it over to South Africa. And if it has not made it to South Africa, then ja, jullie het geluk. Jullie het in die aspect bij fucking geluk. Because here, right now, what the far right do is they declare everything they don't like woke. Basically, if you're just not even racist enough for them, like not anti-racist, not even like sort of not racist, just not racist enough for them, that's woke. You know. I don't know. I think the birthing person is going to continue to talk for a little bit. It's a 27-minute video.
Purely emotional, you know? It's like she's begging people to be sexist about. Like, and so she.
See, again, you just have to wait. If you want to see something suck, you know, it's just a countdown. When he says something valid, when she says something valid, when he says something valid, and when any of those three says something valid, it is only a countdown until they say something that sucks.
She can pro-clutch harder. She was attacking everyone, and she's objectively wrong, too. She said, so again, she said...
Kitasto Taylor Dansk. Hen Taylor Afrikaans.
Simultaneously believes these two things. Hey, as long as we're like clip farming or whatever, Anna, you can like respond to this anytime you want, okay? Why do you say birthing person refers to women when you acknowledge the existence of...
Well, no, I mean, the point of it is it refers to women in addition to everyone else who gives birth. That's the point. It is a generic term for everybody who's capable of getting pregnant. As she herself acknowledged.
Trans men and non-binary people, many of whom can give birth, who aren't women. You know the term refers to a broader group of people.
Yes.
It would be like...
Okay, well, he corrected himself there. Fair dues.
Like saying, like for prostate cancer, whatever, it would be like saying something like people with prostates. Like, that doesn't mean men. If they meant men, they'd say men.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you never, I mean, just the level... It's fascinating how you never actually see that particular angle of attack. It's the same thing with, like... They have this whole obsession with, you know, acting like they're the only ones who can define women. But you never hear them talking about defining man. It's weird.
But there are, like, people who aren't men who have prostates. Though, admittedly, trans women tend to get prostate cancer because of estrogen or whatever. But you know what I mean. These two beliefs are not capable of being held at the same time. So this is, like, purely emotion, low IQ, whiny, you know, and I don't respect it. I don't.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't respect it.
But she'll never address this. She's been doing this for months. It is so easy to pivot to the right, man. It is so...
Yeah, he should know. He's done it so many times at this point. I mean, he must be getting dizzy.
Crazy. Holy shit.
Congratulations, Vosh. You got the attention
Thank you.
you so desperately want. You're trash.
Thank you.
He is.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's what I think of you.
It's like, well, I'm just calling you guys the R word and then stuff. But why are you attacking me?
What? It's a Jake.
God, these fucking people. Here the fucking Mensa.
Jake, when have I ever said, why are you why would I, if I responded that way every time people attack me, that'd be my entire channel, all the...
Except it's not so much people attacking you, it's sort of people clapping back when you say something that sucks. Yeah, I mean, what you do is much more like attacking, because you will lie about somebody to your chat, and they then just fill that person's mention on Twitter with racism.
The time, I'm always under attack, and I'm taking the heat. Listen, okay? Like clay, alright? I am hardened in the heat. Not an erection joke. This is a great pause frame, by the way.
I will have to admit he's right there. I was thinking that I might actually have to crop this and use it for something.
Hey, this is very good. That's like emote worthy right there. He's just defending Anna and doesn't know what's going on. This is unironically why I like Jenk, okay? Jenk is...
What is the what called?
ride or die. If you're friends with Jake and you call him at 3 a.m. and you're like, dude, I need a place to bury a body and I need you to, like, I need an alibi, like, right now, okay? He will do it for you. He will do or say anything to defend Anna. And I genuinely feel like it's like authentic puppy dog loyalty. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, I actually find it's...
I'm not gonna do it here because I'm not gonna do it while I'm streaming because that would just be boring as hell. But I'm going to note this is 11:55 time signature. I think I will have to crop it. Oh, you mean the guy who's going like this? Dai ao Sanam is that'll do it. Yeah, his name is Cenk Uyghur. Dai style Sanam.
It's like a very rare trait, and I think it's very endearing, even if...
Ik zal het ook schrijven.
Politically, it's really bad in this case. Yeah, so he's just sitting over there. He's just like blind firing. He's like, well, the thing I don't like about him is, you know, the what he's short, and you know, I don't like the stuff he said about Nicaragua.
He can't even come up with realistic things people don't like about him. I can come up with realistic things people don't like about me. It's actually no problem, because for the most part, the people who don't like me, I'm actually kind of okay with them not liking me because I also don't respect them. Which I think is a sort of, as far as I'm concerned, that's sort of a life goal, that the only people that dislike you should be people whose opinion you don't give a shit about anyway. That, I think you're doing well. The minute you're disliked by people whose opinion actually matters to you, then you may have fucked up. In one way or another. But, like, he can't even acknowledge, hey, Phoenix, how you doing? Oh, well, I'm glad. New camera here, because I've got sick of the fucking camera that I dropped on its head 5 or 6 times, actually freezing up and taking all of my other USB devices with it. So, some sort of start difficulties as I learn how to use this one, which doesn't work quite the same way. It doesn't have its own crochet dick. And welcome, Kit Astro's been joining me while I've been doing the translating streams this past couple of weeks. So everybody say hi to Kit Astro. Nice to see. Wait, it's gotta be like, what is it, like 8 in the morning for you? Did you get up early to see this? If so, buy a fucking donkey.
What? I don't know. He's stinky.
Okay, so guys,
You seem to be having a lot of fun with this drama. Yeah, it is fun. I won't pretend it's not, like, actually disappointing, though.
Like, how is it disappointing, though? I mean, what expectations can you have of any of these people at this point?
You know...
I mean, okay. He decided to name this entire platform off of some people who genocided Armenians. She is a total Armenian nationalist, but only when it's a way to avoid, to, like, claim that she isn't white when she says something racist. Oh, okay. Ik zoek een nacht, mensen.
Obviously, it's a net negative politically, the direction that Anna is taking. But it is very silly, you know. It's one of those rare bits of... So, to put in perspective, like, how bad this is from their side of things, okay? When I had beef with Professor Flowers...
That's to say the time that he lied about what Professor Flowers said, when she made a really basic point about decolonization, and he spent, like, an entire stream trying to get her to say something that he could clip so he could say she was advocating white genocide. She didn't, and then he claimed that she said it anyway, and just basically harassed her off the internet with his fucking hate mobs.
My community was split over it. When I had beef with Mel, My community was split over it. When I had beef with FD Signifier, that's right, yeah. When I've spoken negative,
It's funny how many of the people that he has beef with are black. Now that couldn't possibly suggest that there's an issue here.
on him, my community's been split in it, okay? To be clear on how, like, overt this is, TYT is one of the largest left-leaning networks on the internet. And my community is not even...
I use Afrikaans pretty much any chance I get because I just enjoy speaking it. I mean, I think the reason personally would be that he gives them an excuse to attack people. Like, despite not having any particular good reason. And because he pretends that he's some kind of leftist, these people can be convinced that when they attack people, it's like, that it's some sort of leftist praxis or some shit like that. I think that's why. Yeah, I know. Xanderhole makes a point of insulting FD Signifier just apropos of nothing. I mean, I was just watching one of his videos recently. I kept meaning to watch him. I have so much of his stuff in my watch later, but other stuff shows up in the recommendations, and that's front of mind. So I'd never gotten around to it. But one of his showed up in the recommendations, and I checked it out. It's like, I mean, it's good. I mean, he actually. I mean, I would have to say, he seems like he knows what he's talking about a hell of a lot more than any of these jabronis. Just, not that that's hard.
even a little bit split.
And I enjoyed it. It was a good stream.
That is how...
It was the one about, it was actually, coincidentally, it was also about Anna Transphobian, and how she was, like, lying about the civil rights movement in order to attack trans people.
Planted this drama is. Normally, I feel some level of frustration or panic because I feel like I'm going to have to work to justify what I say or my positions or whatever.
When has he ever tried to justify what he says or his positions or whatever?
But in this case, they have so thoroughly denigrated themselves that I don't feel that need to my community. I'll still explain why. I mean, I've been explaining, but I don't have to because it's so obvious, you know? It's kind of crazy. Bosh, I think the only time this community has been in full agreement is here with QIT with Shu with Destiny. The community...
Yeah, I'm an adult who doesn't have a spouse or children. I have nieces, though, and they fucking rock. Very much on Team Nieces over here at the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. Having nieces is, like, incredible. Because it's like... it's like having kids, except, like, the really difficult bits that, you don't necessarily know what the fuck you do. Because, I mean, I honestly, I'm doing well to keep a plant alive. But you still get to, you hang out with them and you get to watch them, like, discovering the fucking world and everything, and it's amazing. And fortunately, they have amazing parents in my sister and her husband. They just really very much on Team Nieces here.
Community was split on Destiny for ages because so many of his people were in my community.
Which is not a recommendation of your community, Vosh. If people who think that Destiny's got a point feel comfortable in it.
Well, and even with Shu, there's been variants. I genuinely...
That would be Shu on Head, who's just straight up fash.
I think this thing with TYT is the cleanest break I've ever seen, and it's against...
That's because it is not some spontaneous thing. There is nothing spontaneous about it. She could have chosen something transphobic that she hadn't actually made a video explaining why it was bullshit. She chose that. That is what Sophie from Mars has pointed out is an audience self-selection device. Because at that point, your audience divides between the people who are such rubes that they will go along with the fact that you've decided that you're being performatively angry about something that you yourself pointed out was actually nonsense that right-wingers made up just a few months back. And the people who will say, yeah, this is bullshit, and walk out or decide to roast you on their own streams. Chunibuyo? Or Unibuyo?
Left-leaning network that's ever disagreed with me.
Ah. Ngifunda isiZulu. Angi kulumi kakulo. I speak it very badly. Or was that was that not? It feels isiZulu. The rhythm of the word seems isiZulu, but is that like Sesotho or something?
So I guess it's just funny because of how obvious it all is. Though, of course, the outcome of any situation in which a person disagrees with me, the outcome is all according to Kaikaku. Here, let's finish this damn clip.
Oh yeah, I mean, and she has a very specific tendency to just be really, really hardcore anti-LGBT. She's gotten really hardcore into like spreading propaganda that is designed to get LGBT people killed. I mean, even Xanderhole broke ties, and
it's not just about Bush. To all the criers out there who,
broken keyboard English. And here I was trying to decide whether that C was a click. This is why I hate touchpads. I don't use them like, I will keep people waiting for, like, if they send me a chat message and I don't have a keyboard, because I would rather be known as being a bit late in responding than try to have a conversation of any substance through a damn touchpad with predictive text running interference the whole time.
Say horrible, horrible things about us. And then when we tweak you back up...
What do you mean horrible things? I mean, people went out of their way, bent over backwards to just try to explain this shit nicely.
That's so true.
Well, he's just providing just a gold mine of freeze frames here.
Finger on the pulse of this discourse. I find him so endearing.
I don't need your stupid tears. Go away, okay? So
do you think that people have this reaction you're caricaturing because they think you need them? I don't think that's how the reactions work, actually, Jank.
Fine, you, like, I mean, what if I get, like, look, I'm willing to talk to almost anybody. So, you want to debate? What are we going to debate?
Well, it would be interesting to see you explain how this isn't just the most transparent grift ever. I mean, maybe you could point out a more transparent grift than pretending that you're both angry about some stuff that you yourselves debunked 11 months ago. I mean, that would actually, I'd pay to see that one. Just because I don't see how they could possibly wiggle out from under it.
We could just talk, man. I don't know if I'd want to debate.
Yeah, poverty. I think I've actually seen some studies suggesting poverty itself it ends up creating just unhealthy levels of stress hormones because there's just this constant struggle to survive, and you're constantly under threat by capitalism. I have to say, I personally think that people do change their philosophy for exposure. Not the sort of people whose opinion I would care about. Not the sort of people whose opinions are actually worthwhile to begin with. But somebody like Vush, someone like fucking Anna Transphobian. I mean, those motherfuckers definitely will change their views on something. Tim Pool changes his views on things all the time. Oh shit, are you, like, you didn't hurt yourself too badly, I hope?
Jank, on Anna because that kind of I don't like debating people on other people, but
Fuck off! You do it all the time.
it'd be fun to talk to him.
See, this is where our differences lie, because I can't imagine anything that I would less like to do than talk to them. That would just be such an annoying conversation. If I want to talk to annoying-ass liberals, I don't have to go, like, select those two. There are lots of them out there.
Send the email. I already...
Oh, shit. That sounds utterly painful. I hope it goes down quickly.
Have a line of communication with him that is underway. I don't know if it's going to pan out, though. I mean, I did send messages to Anna Kasparian that she never...
Me personally, like, the best I've ever done economically was actually in, like, the first decade where I was actually making a living translating, and then the global financial crisis happened, and it just fucking killed my client base. They all just got eaten up by mergers and things like that. And a lot of the people that I worked with and had really good relationships with left the industry altogether. And then the fucking pandemic is utterly... There's nothing for you to be sorry about. So, yeah, I've had a lot of experience with the struggle, the being utterly skint thing is what I'm saying. See, my experience with mats is that they've almost killed me repeatedly in the shower. Because somehow I always manage to stand on them at an angle that sends them flying out from under me. And I end up, like, almost hitting my head on the back wall of the thing.
Never replied to. You know, that bridge is pretty well burned. She knows she shouldn't talk to me. She knows to stay away from me. I'm not sure. But I wouldn't want to, like, epically tear Jenk apart or anything. Like, sincerely, you know. I would much rather, I don't know what I want to do with I don't know what kind of conversation I want to have with them, to be perfectly honest with you. I just have a good old time. Nice time. Do you guys want to hear the last messages that I sent Anna Kasparian? It's not leaking DMs because they're my DMs. That's
okay. I think we've seen enough of this. This is getting repetitive. I think we're gonna switch over. Oh, something you actually stick down. I've never actually seen a mat that you adhere to the bottom of the shower like that. Did your snap get cut too? A lot of friends of mine who get snap have been saying that the amount has gone down massively.
All right, so we will conclude our program tonight with the summary remarks.
This motherfucker has some serious cheek having Fred Hampton and John Brown's portraits here. He hangs out with fucking Nazis.
The ideological leader of the Center for Political Innovation. He has
SNAP is supplemental nutrition assistance program. It's a benefit that people get if they are that if they're so broke that they're food insecure, basically. And a lot of people who get it are employed because the wages here are so shitty that you can be employed full-time and still be fucking food insecure.
Inspired many people like me to do real-life work and to not be
What real-life work? These people don't do any real-life work.
contented in just hiding behind the keyboard. A unique political thinker, rich in depth and full of optimism. One of the kindest, patient, and honest man I've known.
He's so honest that he had to promise when he set up CPI-2 Mark II that he would not have control over the purse strings. Because the first CPI, which kicked him out, had, amongst other things, accused him of sticking his finger in the till.
He does his utmost best to help people and to make this world a better place. Give your hands up to Caleb Maupin.
He's got some swatches to show us.
Thank you so much. Now stay standing, and stretch. Please stand up and stretch. Just get a good stretch.
What the? Okay. This is new. What is this? Eating Bogon Teso.
Good stretch. Good stretch. Try to be brief because we're ending the program here tonight.
He's never brief because he repeats himself at least 10 times.
Just want to talk about a few things here. First off, I do want to
How far from your GoFundMe goal are you?
thank Nick Brana for that great presentation. Tremendous. And I want to also thank Theo and Erebus, who are also from the People's Party. They came in. I want to thank the Uhuru movement. And people don't...
It's just dodgy fuckers everywhere you look. The People's Party, the Uhuru cult.
Take seriously how serious the charges against the Uhuru 3 are. This is a really serious case. And the fact that they made the time to come here amid all that their organization is facing, we take that as a badge of honor. We are proud to stand with you, and
They're just glad to have anyone who's willing to return their calls.
we will be with you till the end. They should not be able to imprison anyone as a Russian agent for exercising their freedom of speech. We are on your side. Hands off Uhuru.
And it's like, I mean, the thing about about these charges being caught by the Uhuru movement is the charges are bullshit and are legitimately, seriously concerning. Because it's basically amounts to the stuff they say coincides so heavily with stuff that, official Russian propaganda says. So therefore they're engaging in Russian propaganda. And that's fucked up. But the thing is, Uhuru is fucked up too. It is a really fucked up, abusive cult.
Absolutely. Chris Halali and I go way back. Chris Halali is great. He's from Vermont. Theo is also from Vermont, so they're co-staters. And Chris Halali, in addition to all the great things in his introduction, he's a farmer. Did you know that? We have the workers and the farmers represented here. So this is really, really great.
And then we have Caleb, who somehow manages to be neither. Well, I mean, because he just sort of mooches off his wife.
Want to acknowledge...
Uhuru is, sort of the umbrella organization, the money behind the African Socialist People's Party, or African People's Socialist Party. And they've had all sorts of, like, sexual abuse, allegations and stuff. If you remember a guy, by the name of Ghazi Kodzo, really seriously anti-Semitic, ended up having some kidnapping shit, set up his own little cult called, Black Hammer. He was at one point high up in fucking APSP.
Jose, Jose, he has interrupted so many people. And some people said to me, jokingly, they said, are you sure you want to invite that guy?
Well, I mean, see, this is actually a cult tactic right here. Because he's managing to sort of slag off members in public. This is something that people actually called him out for in that document that detailed all the fucked up shit he was doing with CPI Mark 1. This is Uhuru over in the U.S. No, this has nothing to do with South Africa. I mean, maybe there are some South Africans in there, but if they're in there, that's because they're living in the U.S. This is entirely U.S.-based. I think their main like headquarters is in Florida someplace.
I said to them, I said, if Jose were to interrupt me in my speech, that would be like having like an expert opera singer get up and perform an oratory. It would be like...
Holy shit, I have to say, this is like, I will say this is like the first time he's managed to tell a joke without spending 15 minutes announcing that a joke is
It would
coming.
be like the best thing ever because he has done it so well. He has held the politicians' feet to the fire, and it would put me in some pretty big leagues with members of Congress and important people, vice presidents and others. So it would almost be an honor. So there you go, Jose. Really, really glad to have you here. And the Schiller Institute also has done so much.
The Schiller Institute. Oh wait, you mean Uhuru? The U.S.-based Uhuru is funding a party in South Africa? I hadn't heard of it, but it wouldn't surprise me. Wait, is the Schiller Institute, for anyone who isn't familiar, is a front for the LaRoucheite movement, which is just straight-up fascists. I mean, at one point in the 60s, he pretended to be a social democrat. Then he decided to have goons with baseball bats show up at leftist groups and break up their meetings. Then, sometime in the early 80s, I believe it was, LaRouche goes to the CIA and offers to have a cooperative relationship with them, promising them, because he's kept such great files on all the leftists in the U.S., and according to the CIA anyway, they refused to take him up on this because they thought he was unreliable, but fuck knows. But that's the kind of people that he invites over. If you look up Jeremiah Duggan, now LaRouche is about as is from the U.S. as far as I remember. Let me check. Lyndon LaRouche. Yeah, he's a presidential... Yeah, he was born in New Hampshire. See, a young Jewish guy by the name of Jeremiah Duggan got sort of dragged over to a Schiller Institute anti-war training. Because the Schiller Institute is nasty a cult as they come. And we still don't... Yeah, maybe it's Huguenot then. We still don't exactly know what happened. All we know is he wound up dead after basically running for his life in the middle of the night and making a terrified phone call to his mother. Beyond that, it's not entirely clear what happened, except that he was scared to death of the people he was surrounded by at this LaRouche front group that is being thanked right now for their attendance at the CPI.
About the Belt and Road Initiative, they were talking. A friend of mine years ago, I was talking to about the Schiller Institute, and he said back in the 1980s, they used to see election campaigns for their German political party, and that they would be posters that were.
That would have been around the time that Lyndon LaRouche was trying to get set up with the CIA.
Up for their German political party, and it would have these high-speed trains going from China up into Europe. People thought this was a crazy science fiction organization. What the hell is this?
Yeah, which is really giving them credit because there's nothing really sci-fi about them. They're just fascists.
And now it's happening. It's actually happening.
Yeah, cult all the way down. I mean, they have this idea that the British royal family are actually part of a Jewish conspiracy that is dominating the United States, and that the United States is actually white people in the U.S. are colonized by Britain. I mean, it's absolutely, it's just buck wild what they say. It's I mean, it's a bit of anti-Semitism. There's a bit of just complete nonsense about infinite growth under capitalism and sort of climate change denial. And they like to beat the shit out of leftists.
Oh, that's some vision that I can respect. I also want to acknowledge, a couple friends that are here. Both Irving and Kevin, they're both former transit workers who came out tonight. So we love you, Irving. We love you, Kevin. Glad to have you here.
Is this all this is going to be?
And that was a great... And Mark, she was part of things. Keeping Occupy Wall Street alive. And,
yeah. You see, Caleb Muppet, like some of the most notorious grifters of our time, constantly makes a meal of the fact that he was important at Occupy, except he actually wasn't. Like, he talks about this great speech he supposedly gave to a rapt audience, who talking about class struggle, which he acts like he was the first person to bring that up at Occupy Wall Street. Like, he introduced the topic. Nobody at Occupy Wall Street had thought about class struggle until he mentioned it. But, I mean, he had the poor judgment to post the video of him giving this speech on his YouTube channel. And basically, it's him yelling into a microphone on a street, surrounded by people who the camera crew were very nice enough to show us what they were looking at. And they were all just checking their phones. I mean, this is before smartphones even. Even a fucking just old flip phone was apparently more capable of holding their attention than his bullshit. Yeah, I mean, my definition of leftist, I don't consider somebody a leftist unless they are actually anti-capitalist. Unless they are explicitly opposed to capitalism and are either basically some kind of communist, whether anarcho-communist or otherwise. That their goal is to overcome capitalism.
You know, every year she does an anniversary of Occupy Wall Street. Actually, I've had the honor of attending several times.
Yeah, well, that already shows a lot about who she is.
I had actually done some activism in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh God, he's gonna talk about the fucking time he filmed some black girls getting beat up by the cops, and he became such a fucking hero because he allowed them to use the video as evidence, and they got off. And fucking 15 years later, he's still talking about this like this makes him some sort of fucking hero.
Before I came to New York City. And in Cleveland, Ohio, there's an organization, I think it still exists. It's called Black on Black Crime Incorporated. And this is an organization that's led by Art McCoy, who's the owner of a barber shop in Cleveland. And this organization, Black on Black Crime Incorporated, kind of a black nationalist-oriented community empowerment group, a lot of ministers, a lot of Muslim imams, a lot of community businessmen and others. And I tell people that in a country where you have a real communist party, or a real revolutionary organization.
Well, according to him, see, the thing you have to understand about Caleb Muppet is that he thinks that fascism is communism.
That's what it looks like.
It's run by a petty bourgeois business owner. That's what a real communist party looks like. It's run by a small capitalist.
I would go to the meetings of Black on Black Crime Incorporated, and every week, Wednesday, they'd have like 80 people there, and they would talk about the stoplights, and they would talk about issues like rent rising in the community. They talk about garbage being collected. They would talk about all kinds of issues, and every week it was like a citizens' power council in Nicaragua. It was like a Soviet, in the Bolshevik years. It was the community coming together to address the needs of the people. It was really a beautiful organization, and police brutality wasn't always a trendy issue to talk about. There has been a rise. Black Lives Matter,
which it's worth noting that he considers Black Lives Matter to be part of the big conspiracy he's fighting against. He claims that the only legitimate representation of black people, because he totally has the right to decide this, being a big old white guy from Northern Ohio, is the Nation of Islam, which is actually allowing itself these days to be used as a vector for Scientology to exploit the black community. Like, every time he speaks highly of somebody, either he's misrepresenting them or they turn out to be anti-Semitic as fuck. That is one thing you can be fairly...
Ferguson, and then what developed, and later with the situation with George Floyd, and now it's something that a lot of...
The situation with... You mean the fact that he got fucking murdered?
People talk about. But it wasn't very trendy to talk about. It was kind of an issue that the media stayed away from. Black on Black Crime Incorporated, it got us involved in some community struggles around police brutality. There were pretty horrendous.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from one of them about how actually involved he was, since all he seems to do is just sort of use any other group as a way to tick a box in his resume. Oh yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, my impression from what I've, I don't really pay close attention to South Africa, but I get the impression from stuff that I've read and stuff that I've heard, and that a lot of the same lines are being used. Like, the same kind of, like, white resentment politics is being promoted by the same sort of people that promoted here on the same, like, utterly fucking spurious grounds, where it's, like, essentially trying to divert working class people's understanding of why their lives suck away from their bosses and the entire capitalist class, and toward people who actually still aren't actually doing any better than they are, and are also fucking working class. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine.
There was one case, and this woman, young woman, 19, 20 years old. She had a little bit too much to drink one night, and her father didn't want her to get into the car, and so they had an altercation. The father called the police. The police showed up. One of them was on drugs at the time, just beat the hell out of this woman. And then her mother stepped in to try and protect her, beat the hell out of her. And of course, they then charged them with assault on a police officer. And they said she tried to steal their firearm, and there were no fingerprints on the firearm. And eventually these charges were dropped, but they spent
Okay, and how's he gonna big note himself in here?
2-3 years in court. And year after year, court date after court date, just dragging it out. And the mother lost her job, and the daughter, was facing much more serious charges. She's wondering, is she going to go away for 10, 15 years? And eventually, it gets to trial, and they drop everything. But they've already taken this family through 2 or 3 years of hell before they finally get to trial, and then they say, oh, okay, I guess we'll drop it down to nothing. That's how they operate. They destroy people's lives. They get people to plea bargain to things that they didn't do in order to...
Okay, I mean, like, I have no notes. That is very true. I mean, you hear a lot of liberals, I hear, like, will be like, oh, well, they got acquitted, so, that's great. It's like it never happened. It's like, no, just getting charged will fuck up your life. The fact that you get acquitted means that it didn't get as bad as it could have been, but getting charged with all the fucking legal fees, with, the getting arrested, with all the fucking humiliations that are involved in that bullshit, with all the shit you have to put up with in trial, with all the extortionist tactics of prosecutors and cops and all that shit. I mean, just getting charged is enough to totally ruin a person's life.
Charges go away. And I remember going to court with the family that was involved in that case, and seeing what they went through, and it was horrifying. I mean, we were raising money so they could keep the electricity on in their house while they were going through this.
Well, who's we?
The other thing is that it was through outreach around that particular case that I happened to be outside of Collinwood High School.
Here we go. This is where he's going to tell us what a hero he is, because he filmed the cops beating up a couple of black girls at a school walkout. I mean, it is like, the fact that he's talking about this 15 years later, that is the most pathetic shit ever. For one thing, filming cops, like, you can't go to a protest. Oh no, there are a couple of East Asian people, and Uhuru's there, so there will be a couple of black people in attendance. But yeah, his group is white as fuck. His group is indeed white as fuck. His group, let me put it this way. His group is whiter than an Afrikaans country music video.
Cleveland High School on the east side. And I was outside of Collinwood High School, and the kids told me they were planning a walkout against teacher layoffs.
He notice he centers himself in all this, and it is so fucking pathetic. Because who hasn't filmed cops at a protest?
Me and my roommate, we went to that walkout that happened at Collinwood High School, and only about 9 kids got out the door because the police chained the doors to the school shut, which is completely illegal. And so they were...
Yeah, completely illegal, yet not exactly uncommon. My school had the fucking doors chained too in some places. Oh, well, because that would involve taking an actual risk. And Caleb Maupin doesn't really do actual risks. Like, I mean, he thinks he's a hero because he took the footage to court and used it to get them off. I mean, they should have...
were kind of assembled outside, and then the police brutally attacked 2 young women, 2 sisters. And I was there, and I filmed it, and it was my video that actually got them acquitted in juvenile court after we tried to charge them with assault on a police officer. And so I think about the issue of police brutality a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he saves all these fucking cuttings of, of shit that happened 15 years ago. These are the laurels he rests on. Like, not actually having organized he's never, not actually having organized anything. He showed up, sort of, tagged along at somebody else's organization, and he did something I've, filmed fucking cops. I mean, that is not an unusual thing to do, and he treats it like a fucking flex. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with that point of view. I mean, sometimes your options for how to do that are limited, but I would say the bare minimum, if you have that footage and you know the victims are being charged with an offense, is that you go to their fucking solicitors and you say, you need to show this in court, what the cops are saying is a complete lie. I mean, that is just the bare fucking minimum of human decency. But this is 15 years later, he's still bragging about the shit. But in any case, it is time for me to wrap up for tonight. Thank you to everyone for joining. Nice to see you on one of my nighttime streams, Kid Astro. Good to see you. I will be back tomorrow at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Same time as today. And we will continue the JabroniCon then. Good to see you all, and link and Phoenix, drop the link to your GoFundMe in the Discord again.